Hey everybody, my name is Grayson. I'm the guy behind Straw Hat Speculator, and today I want to talk about my investments I've made so far into One Piece. And I also want to talk after that part of the video about another video I saw today by a creator saying that they don't think EBO1 and PRBO1 are good investments. I kind of disagree with their thought process, so I want to talk about that and discuss my reasoning as to why I think they're better investments than a lot of people perceive. And then we're going to talk about a couple other things too, just related to this niche in the hobby, and I don't know, just my general thoughts about what's going on, because there are some interesting things. So first off, my boxes that I've invested in, OPO1, I have one. I'll try and get the flash out there. One box, white bottom as well. I'm trying to get a blue bottom box. It's very difficult to find one where I am in Canada, but once I do find one, I will be pulling the trigger, more than likely. Next up, PRB01. I have a couple boxes of this also. And I'm a huge fan of PRBO1. I think it's a good set. Obviously, it's very expensive right now because people want the boxes. They're opening the boxes too, trying to chase all those manga cards and alternate arts. I think it's great. And then one of my larger positions, OPO5. You guys know I'm a big fan of this set. And then finally, OPO9, which is my largest position right now. And I have a few loose boxes behind me, as you can probably see also. Some more OPO5, one box of PRBO1. And then down here, we have a case of OPO9. I have another case coming in tomorrow. I should be able to pick that up, and then I'll have all of my boxes. You guys know I made a mistake video talking about things to avoid doing. If you have the money, buy cases of booster boxes, because in One Piece, unlike Pokemon, there are guaranteed hits in a case. They're more mappable. You have a better chance of pulling a manga. Whereas if you buy a loose booster box like this, it's always possible that it came from a case where someone opened a box, pulled a manga, knows that all the other boxes probably aren't going to have any mangas in them, or big hits. They can do the mapping out, right? I'm not a super big expert into that, but point being, cases, there will be case premiums in One Piece. That's just a reality. Whereas with Pokemon, you can see a lot of Pokemon behind me as well. There's no guaranteed hits, right? So it's not as big of a deal in Pokemon. Now, if you guys want to know my breakdown for what I paid on each box, I'll give you Canadian prices because I have it in my chart. If you're in the US or somewhere else in the world, you will have to do the conversion. But for OPO9, I paid $210.52 per box for 26 total boxes. That came out to $5,400, $5,473.55. OPO5, $303.30 Canadian. And I have 10 boxes of that, so a little over $3,000 there. 2 boxes of PRBO1 coming out to $346.45 Canadian each. And then finally, OPO1 Romance Stone White Bottom, $559.95 on that. So you will have to do your conversions to whatever currency you use, but those are my prices that I'm in so far. And then the illustration boxes are $39.11 Canadian after tax, all in on those. So what I want to talk about in this video, I saw another creator in this space today, and I'm sure some of you guys watch his channel. He talked about why he thinks PRB01 here and also EBO1, which I don't own, is a bad investment. And he talks about there just not being a lot of good hits in it. And this guy also discusses like your worst box, right? And theoretically, like how much value you can get out of the worst box versus the best box. And I really just don't think that is a super important metric to track. Now, if a set is in rotation, maybe that's more relevant. It might be relevant to the players. It might be relevant to collectors at some point. But when you get into these older sets that are out of rotation, at least in Pokemon, right? I'm going to relate a lot to Pokemon because that's where I come from. And also, if we want to see One Piece succeed, One Piece needs to follow Pokemon in certain aspects, if that makes sense. And I'll explain what I mean. In Pokemon, when a set goes out of rotation, there's still a lot of people that want to open packs and booster boxes of that set because they don't play the TCG. They just collect the cards. They want nice shiny artworks, rare cards that are difficult to pull. Okay, so in One Piece, when a set goes out of rotation, if this game is going to succeed, there needs to be collectors that want to open those sets still, pull the cards, and have them for their collection, whether they want to grade them with PSA, whether they want to have raw singles in their binder, whatever it is. There needs to be people that want to do that. And if there is no one who wants to do that, it's not really going to be relevant. This whole discussion is going to be pointless because the game probably won't last long term or it won't do super well anyway. So if we have those collectors, right, those collectors normally want cards that are rare, that are valuable. And what causes things to be rare and valuable, obviously good pull rates, or bad pull rates, I guess you could say, difficult to pull cards. But then also, value needs to be assigned to certain characters, popular characters that people want. For example, in Pokemon, people like Charizard, people like Mewtwo, Mew, what else, like Magikarp, maybe a couple other ones. Those are generally more popular characters and more expensive cards in the SV era too. The Greninjas up there also, Umbreon, all the evolutions, etc. So in manga, you have your Luffy cards that are very expensive. You have Zoro cards that are quite expensive. The Ace is up there from Paramount War. And then obviously like the Goldie Roger gold manga card from OP09 is one of the most expensive cards. So having popular characters, difficult to pull cards, mangas in general are very difficult to pull, one in like 3 to 5 cases. I don't think anyone knows exactly, but that's a good sign. All of that's a good sign. But with EBO1, there isn't a lot of popular characters in that. You have the Tony Chopper manga card, and outside that, like there really isn't too much. So you probably asked me, Grayson, why is it still a decent investment? Well, long term, there's going to be less and less boxes on the market because people will still want to chase that card. Also, as less and less boxes become available on the market, the value of these boxes increase in price because one, people want to have those in case someone wants to buy one to chase that card. But then also, as boxes get older, if the game succeeds, people just enjoy collecting the sealed booster boxes. Again, if the game doesn't succeed, people don't want to open older sets, it's not going to be relevant. But if we get to a point where it's like Pokemon in that sense, sealed boxes, no matter how bad they are going to see an increase in value over time. You can look at any box from Pokemon, even very bad sets like Steam Siege, Crimson Invasion. Those boxes are terrible. There's hardly any good hits in them. No one really wants to open those boxes to chase the top hits. But over time, those boxes continue to go up in price. Crimson Invasion, I think, has doubled in the past 2 or 3 years, and that is genuinely a bad set. Steam Siege was in the news a couple weeks ago because I think it's breaking $600 USD now at this point. So the same thing is going to happen with EBO1, PRBO1, even if they're not good sets. Whereas PRBO1, I probably shouldn't have put it in the same boat as EBO1 because PRBO1, this set right here, is a very good set. It is very deep. You have all the manga cards in there. I'm trying to see if I brought it up. I don't think I did here. Oh, I did actually. So you have the Luffy card in there. You have the Nami, the Zoro card, the Ace card, Tony Chopper, Shanks. You have all the Gold Dawns, Trafalgar Law, Sabo, Captain, Soga King. Those are all manga cards outside the Golden Dawn cards. But lots of the Golden Dawn cards. You also have Gold Dawn cards, I guess, not golden. But outside of all that, you have the God Pack. And the God Pack feature, I guess you could say, is a very big X factor that I think people love. In Pokemon, we saw it in 151, there were God Packs, and then also in Prismatic Evolutions, which is probably the most popular set of the past 4 years since Evolving Skies came out. Everyone loves the chance to open a God Pack or a Demigod Pack, pull the Eevee and all the evolutions. That is amazing. And again, the set is just so deep. The Luffy's like $1,300. But even the least expensive card on the first page, so like the 24th most expensive card, is a Gold Dawn, and it's $122. So if you open this set, there's a very good chance that you pull a decently valuable card compared to a lot of other sets. And people like that. They're willing to pay up for the opportunity to pull very expensive rare cards. That is why I believe so much in OP09, because you have that Goldie Roger. That's why I believe in OP05, because you have the Luffy. That's why I think OP11 is going to be good, because you're going to have that Luffy reprint with the gold foil. That's why PRBO1, this box, is great as well, because you have the Luffy, you have the Nami, all the ones we just talked about. Even something like Romance Dawn, right, where you have the Shanks and a couple other cards in there. People are going to want to open that set. And also OPO1 kind of has that nostalgia factor. It's like a base set for Pokemon. So it's got a couple other things working for it as well. But these sets, even if they don't have a ton of chase cards in them, something like EBO1, they're still going to do well long term if we get to a point in the hobby where people value collecting the cards, right? And the TCG aspect of it isn't the main focus, or it's balanced out, right? With rotation, with cards not being playable unless they get reprinted, then we get into a different situation where things can get very dicey, and we're entering uncharted territories before, I guess you could say. So that's why I think there's still a bit of risk in One Piece. But I do see the unboxing videos. I see people wanting to collect these cards. And also, I have some cards here in front of me. I opened one of the illustration boxes just because I wanted to get an idea of pull rates and how a set functions, and even just ripping the packs, like going through the experience essentially. These cards, even like just your regular holo cards that are like 10-20 cents, right? These cards are very high quality. I really like these cards. Again, I believe all cards are printed in Japan, the English ones, whereas with something like Pokemon, I think they're printed in the Netherlands and the US. So very high quality. I like that. I really enjoy that. I think they're better quality cards than Pokemon cards. And really, I think with how One Piece is becoming more mainstream, you have really big collaborations, like the Lakers collaborated with One Piece. One Piece in Japan is just very popular as well. Really, the thing that's going to take One Piece to the next level is society as a whole just coming to accept the card game, for it to become more mainstream, for there to be less stigma around collecting certain cards like the waifus and even some of the anime shots. And I know Pokemon's an anime, but Pokemon's kind of ascended to a different level where we can't really, compare the two, right, in society. Pokemon's just so mainstream at this point. And then the final thing, which a lot of people really don't want to accept, is just if there are opportunities in this hobby to make money, that is going to be a good sign long term for the hobby. And I can personally attest to this because when I look at the analytics for my One Piece investing videos, there are a lot more dislikes compared to likes when I look at the ratios between my Pokemon videos and these videos. However, the watch time is actually higher than my Pokemon videos on average, and I make the same type of content. So what that's telling me is people are very interested in the content, but some people, for whatever reason, just don't enjoy the idea of One Piece investing. And I think that's not a good thing. I really think you need to accept that if you want your hobby to succeed long term, that making money and just it being part of the capitalistic society we live in is important, and it's just going to happen. That's really the reality. I find it strange that certain people really want to gatekeep their hobbies, and they almost don't want to see it succeed because they don't want it to go mainstream, and I don't know, maybe they feel cool that they're part of something that a lot of people don't know about. To me, that's just ridiculous, right? Like, if you're a fan of something, you want it to blow up. At least that's how I look at things, right? Like, I would love to see my favorite bands become the most popular in the world. I would love to see esports or Counter-Strike be much more mainstream than it is, just because those are things I love. Those are things that I spend a lot of my spare time doing and watching and engaging with. So people that are interested in One Piece, whether it's the TCG or collecting the cards, I don't understand why you wouldn't want to see your game become more popular, better funded, and just become overall a safer thing that's probably going to last a lot longer. But you guys let me know in the comments down below what you think. Thank you so much for watching the video. And again, shameless plug, if you guys are shopping eBay, TCG Player, Hobbiesville, I have affiliate links in the description. They're free and easy to use. I guess a small kickback helps out the channel. With that said, thank you so much for watching. Stay safe wherever you are in the world, and I'll catch you in the next one.